Have you ever heard the statement, the bigger the better? While that statement might not work in some areas, it definitely works well in the military. The bigger the military machine is, the more damage you can expect from it. That said, here are the top 10 biggest military machines ever made. Number 10. Char 2C Tank. When you hear the biggest military machines ever made, it's kind of shocking to find out that a tank is actually the smallest of the group. That said, the Char 2C tank is the only one that made the list, giving you an idea of the monstrosities that await you later in this video. Also known as the FCM-2C, the Char 2C tank was a French super heavy tank made during World War I. However, it wasn't deployed until after the war. Based on physical dimensions, it was the largest operational tank ever developed. It required 12 men in 2 separate compartments to operate the 69-ton, 40-foot vehicle. This tank came armed with 3 8mm machine guns positioned in the front, a rear machine gun turret, and a 75mm long gun in the first ever 3-man turret. Interestingly, this super heavy tank was mainly used for morale boosting and propaganda, often shown in movies climbing and crushing old French forts. Number 9. Mil Mi-26. You've seen several airplanes and helicopters all your life, and you've probably considered them huge. I can assure you that none of the aircraft you've seen is as big as the Mil Mi-26 helicopter. Being the first helicopter ever made with an 8-blade main rotor, the Mil Mi-26 helicopter is the largest and most powerful transport helicopter ever made. It took its first flight in 1977, and its unrivaled lifting power can transport large-sized cargoes weighing as much as 20 tons. 320 Mil Mi-26 helicopters have been made over the years and are still used by civilian and military operators. This huge helicopter can carry about 90 passengers and holds the world record for the greatest mass lifted to 2,000 meters, lifting 56,768.8 kilograms in 1982. Number 8. Loon-class Ekranoplan. Another aircraft that makes the list is the Loon-class Ekranoplan, and this aircraft is believed to be even bigger than the Mil Mi-26 helicopter. I think what makes this aircraft more fascinating is its nickname Duck, which makes sense since it's built on the same concept as a hydroplane. This massive plane was used in the 1980s by the Russians and is often described as a flying ship. The Loon, which means Harrier in Russian, was a vehicle in a class of its own and was often regarded as huge and weird. The aircraft is 74 meters long and weighs about 243 tons. With that mass, it can carry another 100 tons of load into the air. The plane-ship hybrid skims over the water because of the lift provided by the massive wings and can reach speeds of 550 kilometers per hour. The aircraft was powered by 8 turbojet engines producing a combined thrust of 28,600 pound-feet, and the crew included 6 officers and 9 regular soldiers who controlled and monitored this aircraft. The Loon-class Ekranoplan had a whole armament capable of dealing with threats ranging from anti-ship launchers to surface-to-air missiles. Clearly, the Russians didn't mess around when making giant war machines. Number 7. Antonov An-124 Ruslan. The Antonov An-124 Ruslan, also nicknamed the Condor, is the largest military carrier aircraft used for transportation in the world. The Antonov An-124 Ruslan has a takeoff weight of 390 tons and can carry a cargo load of 120 tons. Most of the other large military machines are transported using this huge carrier plane, and you can say that the power needed to lift this aircraft off the ground is immense. The Antonov An-124 Ruslan is powered by 4 Lotarev D-18 turbofan engines, producing a combined thrust of 51,600 pound-feet. This massive power of the turbofan engines allows this aircraft to achieve a max speed of 865 kilometers per hour when fully loaded. Holding the title of the largest aircraft ever flown, this aircraft has broken multiple world records, one of which was traveling the longest distance without refueling. Number 6. Zubr-class Elcak. The Russians have always been a country that chased after weapons development, which is quite evident in the machinery they brought to the battlefield. This hovercraft is one of them, and it goes without saying that it was pretty huge. The Super-class LKAK was built in Russia, seeing action first in 1988, and is the largest military Havoc craft ever made. LKAK, seen in its name, stands for Landing Craft Air Cushion, and this machine is essentially a large militarized hovercraft. It can easily navigate over water and land and is used to transport troops and military vehicles. This hovercraft weighs 621 tons and can haul up to 150 tons of cargo. With all this weight, it moves at 300 kilometers per hour due to being equipped with three 5.5-meter propellers. Enjoying how huge these military machines are? Before we move on to the next machine on our list, ensure to like this video and subscribe to our channel to find more luxury-related videos. Number 5. The Gustav. The Gustav was an 80-centimeter German railway artillery gun made in World War II and is also known as the largest and heaviest mobile artillery ever built. It was made in the late 1930s by German industrial conglomerate Krupp as siege artillery to destroy the main forts of the French Maginot Line during World War II. The gun weighed almost 1,350 tons and required a 500-man crew to operate and maintain. The shell fired by this gun weighed nearly 7 tons and shot targets up to 29 miles away. It took 3 days to assemble this beast, and it was the largest caliber rifled weapon ever used in combat. However, the German forces destroyed the gun as they were retreating to avoid capture. In case you were wondering, this large artillery gun has a sister named Dora. Number 4. Tupolev Tu-160. Let's take a small detour back to the ultra-large aircraft that have taken to the skies at one point in human history. Tupolev Tu-160 is a supersonic variable sweep-wing heavy strategic bomber created by the Tupolev Design Bureau in the Soviet Union in the 1970s. Nicknamed Blackjack, this aircraft is known as the world's largest and heaviest nuclear bomber. It can also reach a height of 16,000 kilometers while traveling at twice the speed of sound, Mach 2+. It has a capacity of 45 tons and a range of 12,000 kilometers. This aircraft entered service in 1987 and was the last strategic bomber made for the Soviet Union. As of 2016, the Russian Air Force's long-range aviation branch had 16 of these aircraft in service. Number 3. Akula, Typhoon-class submarine. Soviet Russia really had a thing for big military machines, and we have talked about a few of their very large exploits. This submarine is one of them, and it is described as Typhoon-class, the largest submarine ever built. The production started in 1976, and 7 subs were initially planned, but only 6 were completed. These subs used 2 nuclear reactors and 2 steam turbines to drive 2 shafts. This immense power plant drives the sub to 50 kilometers per hour while submerged. The hull is separated into sections that provide a better chance of surviving if the hull is breached. Each submarine carried a payload of 20 ballistic nuclear missiles and could be submerged for 3 months at a time, and it required a crew of 160 sailors to operate it. Regardless, the submarine was pretty stealthy for a vehicle its size. They were first commissioned in 1980, but Russia ended its modernization plan in 2012 because of great maintenance expenses. Number 2. Yamato. The Japanese aren't absent from this list, as the largest battleship ever created comes from them. Yamato was a Japanese battleship used in World War II. This battleship is 263 meters and weighs 72,000 tons, which is many times larger than a missile cruiser. The development of this battleship started in 1937, and it became battle-ready in 1941, a week after the Pearl Harbor attack. The main weapons comprised the largest caliber guns ever mounted on a ship, and these 18-inch guns fired high-explosive rounds up to 42 kilometers away. The ship's armor was nearly 9 inches thick, and the gun turret's armor was nearly 27 inches thick. It was powered by 4 steam turbine engines, moving the ship at nearly 50 kilometers per hour. Basically, this naval beast could take out nearly any threat, or so you would think. It took 3 layers of 227 American aircraft to sink the Yamato battleship. Number 1. USS Gerald R. Ford. The last on the list is the USS Gerald R. Ford, named after the 38th U.S. President, whose World War II naval service included combat duty aboard the light aircraft carrier Monterey in the Pacific Theater. Construction began on August 11, 2005, when Northrop Grumman held a ceremonial steel cut for a 15-ton plate that forms part of the side shell unit of the carrier, and it took 9 years and $17.5 billion to build. The result is a floating fortress with a length of 337 meters, a width of 79 meters, and a height of over 93 meters. It can accommodate about 100 vehicles and 4,660 personnel. It is also powered by 2 nuclear reactors. What are your thoughts on these huge military machines? Let us know in the comments section below which of them fascinates you the most. And you don't want to miss this next video.